Going on, everybody? I appreciate you checking in. All right, now that OTAs is in the books, I definitely want to highlight some battles, some position battles that I'm looking forward to as they report back to the facility in about a month. But as we kind of get into the preseason, there are certain position groups and certain players that are either battling for a roster spot or potentially a starting position on this football team moving forward. We're strictly going to talk about offense. So let me know in the comment section down below which players on the offensive side of the ball are you excited to kind of see battle it out for a specific position? Let me know in the comment section down below. But before we get into it, if you can, hit that like button, subscribe, turn on those notifications. My next giveaway is at 5,500 subscribers. So if you want to be included, hit that sub button. I definitely appreciate it. And I definitely appreciate everybody viewing as well. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to pick up the depth chart and we're going to kind of go through this together. And so let's talk about the quarterback position first. I really don't think there's much competition, right? A lot of people talk about Cam Miller versus Carter Bradley. Here's the thing. Cam Miller was drafted by this regime. And so I don't see them cutting him or moving on from him at all. And if you do allow him to go to the practice squad, you run the risk of somebody snagging him up. And if you're the regime that drafted him, you're not going to just waste that 6th round pick. And so I do think Cam Miller makes this team. Aiden O'Connell is most likely to be the backup going into the season. And so I think Cam Miller just has a lot to learn. And so he's got to take a season or two to just kind of learn the ropes in the National Football League. So I don't think there's much competition. I do think all three, Gino, Aiden, as well as Cam Miller, are going to make this team. Now, one of the big question marks in the running back position is between Sincere McCormick, Zamir White, as well as Dylan Lobbett, who's truly going to make this team? So that's kind of a three-headed competition that I'm definitely going to be paying attention to. And then the biggest thing is receiver group. Obviously, Jacoby Myers, Deontay Thornton, Jack Besh, they're all going to make the squad, not without question. They're all going to get ample playing time. But if someone gets injured, who's going to be the replacement? And right now, the biggest competition, in my opinion, for that outside receiver position is Colin Johnson and Zachary Franklin. Zachary Franklin, I do think that he's an undrafted free agent. I think he does bring a lot to the table as it relates to just a possession type of receiver. And so I'm excited to see just kind of how he competes. But Colin Johnson, he brings a tall, lengthy receiver to the table. And so outside of Deontay Thornton, we really don't have other tall receivers to step on this football field. And so between Colin Johnson, Zachary Franklin, I definitely want to see this kind of battle play out and see who can maybe make this roster as one of those backup outside receivers. And then we got to look in the slot, right? Trey Tucker, this is his year to figure out who is Trey Tucker. How is he going to be able to contribute to this offense? But you got a guy that we drafted in the 6th round that everybody is high on, which is Tommy Mellott. And here's the biggest thing with him is I do think he's going to contribute the most in special teams, but he's also a 4-3 guy. And he's also kind of that shifty receiver that you can use exactly how Trey Tucker has been used in the past. Now, Trey Tucker, unfortunately, due to all the injuries last season, I do think that this is going to be his first opportunity to show what he can be as a true slot receiver and kind of stay in that slot and showcase his speed and athleticism and his versatility. So I'm really excited to kind of see how does Chip Kelly use Trey Tucker, but Tommy Mellott and what he brings to the table might chip away at his position because he has the speed and athleticism as well. And you can tell being a former quarterback, he's got the smarts to bring with it. And so, look, I'm excited to see this competition between Trey Tucker and Tommy Mellott just to kind of see who kind of gets that leverage and who performs better in the preseason as we creep closer to the start of the season. So definitely, those are two players I'm definitely excited to kind of see them kind of battle this thing out in preseason. Let me know in the comment section down below. What are your thoughts so far between the competition between quarterback group, running backs, receivers? What position groups or players are you most excited to kind of watch in this preseason? Now, when you look at the tight end position, you got Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer. There's a lot of people saying, reports coming out that Michael Mayer is looking really good in OTAs. So I'm excited to kind of see what Michael Mayer we get. But look, you got Ian Thomas and Justin Shorter. These are two tight ends that are very different, right? Ian Thomas is more of a run blocker, possession type of tight end. He's not going to take the top off, but he's got the size to be a red zone threat. But Justin Shorter, he's a former receiver in college. And so he is more of that pass catching tight end. And if we only keep 3 on this roster, I'm really curious to see which route we go. Is it Ian Thomas or is it Justin Shorter? That's the competition I'm definitely looking at because I think both those guys bring different styles to the table. And I'm curious, which one do we bring? Because Ian Thomas, if he's a better run blocker, Chip Kelly likes to run the football, and we have Ashton Genty that we have to open the running lanes for. So again, this is a competition I'm definitely excited for. Ian Thomas versus Justin Shorter. Let's kind of see how that plays out. Let's go to the offensive line position. I'll tell you right now, there was a little bit of shakeup at the end of OTAs, and they moved Thayer Mumford down to guard. And so this is going to be just an absolute competition at the guard position. Obviously, we did bring Alice Kappa. I think that he's a veteran, but if he's our starter, we're going to be in trouble based off the film that we broke down. And we did break down his film. Go check that out if you can. But we drafted Caleb Rogers. Caleb Rogers can compete for the starting position, but he's also a rookie, and we got him in the third round. You'd like for him to develop into a starting position, a starting guard, but it remains to be seen just how well he can do and adapt to the NFL level. But you got Jordan Merritt, Dylan Parham, Alice Kappa, now Thayer Mumford in that mix. It's going to be an absolute competition to see who starts. Now, I think I have all the confidence in the world that Jordan Meredith can do it. If you've been with me for a while, you know I was excited when we brought him on. We signed him last offseason. And so it remains to be seen just kind of how this guard position is going to play out. And I think it's going to be an absolute competition. So I'm definitely excited for that. But at the same time, with the move of Thayer Mumford going down to the guard position, now the backup tackle position is up for grabs. Obviously, we drafted Charles Grant, but Charles Grant, I think, needs a full season, maybe two, to really develop in the National Football League. If we throw him into the fire, I think that we're going to struggle. If he all of a sudden finds himself starting at some point this upcoming season, I don't think he's ready. And I'll be surprised if he's ready. Let's put it that way. And if we got to throw him into the wolves, man, I do think that we're kind of doing him a disservice and not truly taking the time to develop him. So if Thayer Mumford is now no longer on this team as an offensive tackle, you basically slot in Dalton Wagner. And I'm not the biggest fan of Dalton Wagner. He's been on this team or practice squad, I believe, for the last 2 seasons, maybe even 3. And he just has not made it to be able to chip away and become a viable either starter or even rotational piece. And so if we're relying on Dalton Wagner to be the backup, and if someone goes down, I do think we're in trouble. And so that's one of the biggest question marks I have is who's going to compete for that backup offensive tackle role. And if it's Charles Grant, man, I do hope he's ready. And I hope that if we throw him in, it just doesn't do him a disservice moving forward. So I'm definitely looking forward to the competition of who's going to be that backup offensive tackle moving into the 2025 season. So again, let me know in the comment section down below. Who do you think? Give me your starting 5. If you could put a starting 5 offensive line out there right now, let me know in the comment section down below who it would be. And so let me go back up to the big screen. So I definitely appreciate you sticking with me on this one. This is kind of just breaking down some of the battles that I'm looking forward to on the offensive side as these players return late January and as we move into the preseason. So I appreciate you sticking with me again. If you can, hit that like button, subscribe, turn on those notifications. My next giveaway is at 5,500 subscribers. So if you want to be included, hit that sub button. So appreciate you. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you on the next one. I'm out of here.